Hello, everyone. My name, as some of you might know, is Nelson Velez, and I am the chairman of the Virginia Tea Party. This year, we face an election that's actually as consequential as our historic 2024 election was. Then, our nation, our republic, our future as a force for good was on the line. In Virginia, those same stakes for our state is once again, unfortunately, at play. For us, it is deciding a future whose contrast can't be more stark. Today, we have a very special splash of tea, I'm proud to say. I'm honored to have joining us today Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, who is hoping to be that warrior to offer Virginia the better future for all of us. Hello, Winsome. How are you?
Hi, Nelson. Thank you for having me, and good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you again too.
We're doing
What a
this.
wild time we've been having. Oh, do you have a sense that you do you I know some people have all these consequential things happening and it's happening around them, but they don't feel that sense of history because they're caught up in the details of the moment. Do you have any sense about history as you run this campaign?
Yeah, I understand. Again, it's a historical race. I understand that here we are in Virginia, about to elect a woman for governor, and that woman is going to be me because we do have common sense and we've got to keep the gains that we've made. We didn't do all of this work just to lose it. No, not at all. But I don't think people really are thinking about history so much as what kind of a governor are you going to be? Do you see me? Do you know me? Do you understand what's happening in my community, in my neck of the woods? Have you come and have you sat and talked with me about things? Have you listened to me? And I have done that. I have driven my own self almost 24,000 miles
Oh,
every year. I can't even turn my car back in. It's past warranty, because of all the mileage that I have put on the car just visiting every little nook and cranny of Virginia because I wanted to hear from people. What do you want me to vote on? What are your ideas about things? What are we not hearing from you? So I think that's more important, I think, than the historical perspective about the race.
yeah, I think you're right. I think amidst all this world of AI and deep fakes and scripted candidates, I think that people and it's been like this for a few years that they hunger for authenticity. They want a real person. They want to be listened to by a real person and have not a scripted talk, but actually get to know the person who might represent them. And that's the way it used to be. So as you go across the state, um, what is your sense of the people? Are you feeling that they're more edgy, on edge, or is there any kind of like wall that's making it difficult for you to communicate to them? How has it been, the campaign?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. Here we are. We're again going towards yet another election. And, in Virginia, we love our elections. We have an election every single year, unlike some states that it's, every 2 years. For us, it's every year. And so they're now thinking, okay, we've got a governor's race all over again. And people have to understand that the presidential race is important and equally important is the governor's race because now we're talking about what's going to happen in your state. What are the laws that are going to be passed that, we're going to have to live under that has nothing to do with the federal level? And so sometimes people relax and they don't come out. And then when they take away our guns, for example, and they take away our freedoms, then that's when we realize, oh, I should have come out. People are really thinking, what do we have to do to continue again the successes that we made? Because they remember what happened in 21, how our schools were closed, and they were closed by a Democratic governor. Nobody else. The governor made that decision. We had our businesses closed by a Democratic governor. We didn't have to close because we saw that DeSantis in Florida kept Florida open. Abbott in Texas kept Texas open. Kristi Noem in South Dakota kept South Dakota open. And so many of these other Republican led states kept their economies open, kept their schools open, kept their houses of worship open. You remember they were telling us, you couldn't have so many people in your own home if you wanted to even have a Bible study. People remember this, and they remember how well you had administrations where your kids go to school as a boy, as a girl, and then they're doing these pronoun things, and
Right,
you're
right.
wondering when you pick up your child from school again, why are they so confused? They remember these things, and people are saying, okay, we got to get serious. We got to vote for Winsome because the one, yes, I am the one who was there when all of the good that we've been doing was successful. I am the one, we had a seat at the table. My opponent, number one, they need to know she voted for sanctuary cities. Are you kidding me? She voted to keep our borders open. She voted to move criminal illegals into our schools as shelters. We have enough problems in education. We don't need to close schools and open them for shelters for criminal illegals. Has she lost her mind? Yes, she has. No common sense. We're not going back. It matters who the governor is.
Yeah, this is I mean, just for just normal people, this all of this is extremely disturbing. It really is. If you look at the record, and if you look at the record, it is a horror show. She is the leader now of the Democrat Party of Virginia. She owns the radical, extreme legislation that had to be vetoed to protect the citizens of this state. Now we don't know all the details because the media doesn't highlight any of these details for good reason because it would hurt her campaign because she's trying to run as a moderate.
Yes.
So I just
And
I
none of what I just told you are moderate positions. In fact, we have her on video, if you've seen any of our commercials lately, which shows that she says, I am a progressive. But you know what happens when she was in Congress and she was one of 435 Congress folks? She could hide behind 435. But now that she's the single one and she's running for governor, suddenly she's moving back her positions and she's trying to show that she's middle of the road. And we know that she's not. Don't be fooled, folks. You know that the minute that a Democrat is elected, money is coming out of your pocket. You don't even have to ask. All you have to do is look at Maryland. And you picture this with me in
yeah,
Maryland, they're in debt now. We're not in debt in Virginia because we know how to handle finances. We put money away into you might call it the Virginia Savings Bank. So it's called the rainy day fund and the ready reserve fund, just in case of anything happening. Think about that. We're thinking about your children's future. Just if I can do a quick aside, on the federal level, folks, that we are $36 trillion in debt. My God, how did it ever come to that? In fact, I am told that statisticians are saying the minute a baby is born, that baby owes about $106,000. That's what we're saddling our children with. We don't have that problem
mhm,
in Virginia because we have been very careful with the money that you've given us to the point that we're going to be on track to be giving you back almost by the time our term is up, almost $7 billion. That's B money we gave back to you, money we gave back to businesses and still funded education in historic levels, still have managed to help those who are mentally ill and their families, the community service boards, etc., put money in Medicaid for those who need it. I'm talking about roads and bridges, all of that good stuff, attracted businesses here who can create the jobs so we can pay for all the good things we like in life. So we know how to run a government, and I'm the only one running who has had to know how to create a business from scratch. And I did very well because I started in a recession. We did well. I also managed it through COVID, did very well until the Democratic governor decided certain things that closed my business down, closed the schools down again, and closed everything down. And he decided, remember, Nelson, you couldn't be out unless you had a form from the governor that said he approved your being out. Think about that. That's what we've come from, and that's what they will bring us to.
yes, it was a very dangerous time, and it's something that we should all take to heart and remember always, so that it doesn't happen again. One of the concerning things is that a lot of the these bills that were threatened to go through will affect all the businesses that are here, all the businesses that may want to come here, with all the regulation and all the minimum wage exploding, parental rights, education, law enforcement, and the big one, and the one that we saw in dramatic fashion became national news, the illegal aliens like MS-13 having leaders of the eastern seaboard being caught right here in Virginia. And it only happened because we had cooperation between the federal government, the governor, the state of Virginia, and the locality, which is so important to the law enforcement in that locality has to be able to comply with ICE. And if it doesn't, then we would have a much harder time.
Nelson, we can't even talk about bringing jobs here. We can't talk about our children's education if they're not even safe. We've got to have safe and secure communities. Our businesses have to know that if you steal inventory, we're going to prosecute you. We're going to put you in jail. And their employees need to know that they're also safe. We're not going to have that nonsense in Virginia. And my opponent voted against the Lake and Riley Act, which if even Bill Clinton, Nelson, said that if the folks coming across the border had been properly vetted, Lake and Riley would be here today. And I'm saying to myself now, Bill, you do remember that you're at a fundraiser for Kamala, right? It happened on her watch. It happened on Biden's watch. They should have done something about it. So even he was confused. But you see, he at least told the truth until somebody reminded him. So what I'm saying to you is my opponent voted against removing criminal illegal aliens, removing them. It makes no sense. And yet again, she keeps saying she's CIA. Now I ask you, Nelson, is that a moderate? Was gone. We've tried since we've been in office to say if you're a dealer of fentanyl and because of what you have dealt to the people, they die, we're going to put you in jail. Do you know what the Democrats have said? No, that's not what they need. We need to give them a social worker, a therapist to work through. No, no. And I'm a person who ran a men's prison ministry for 2 years. It's not that I don't care. I care. But here's what we need to do. We need to get you off the streets and into jail, and then we will give you a therapist so that you don't harm our children. You don't harm our moms and dads. No, common sense, common sense. And finally, now that we have President Trump, who has said, you're going home. We're going to take you back. We're putting you on the plane. You're going back. No, we couldn't do anything until we had a partner in the president who said exactly that. And so what our governor, Glenn Youngkin, has done is to deputize and train Virginia State Police to honor ICE detainers, to go get them, and to help the president get them gone. Under Biden, no matter if we had done the deputization of state police, they would have still been here because Biden was not removing anyone.
No, he wasn't. And probably a story that we may never find out as to what the motivation was to open up our borders to all kinds of evils that might be coming through, and we have to clean up the mess now in Virginia too.
That's right. We've got MS-13. Do you know we have about 988 criminal illegals in our jails? That's our tax money taking care of them. And that's why we're saying, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We want them gone. We don't want that. And as a matter of fact, most people have probably forgotten, or maybe you remembered, that even the Chinese Communist Party had police, remember police stations?
That's amazing. Yeah.
In,
Isn't that amazing?
in New York.
How do you do that?
And so many other states under Biden. And Nelson, you're like, who's running the country?
Yes, that was the most amazing thing. And here's the thing, one of the greatest cities in the world had Chinese police stations in Manhattan, and they were directing their people to attack Chinese Americans.
This is it. And but wait, the other side of the political aisle says they love folks more than Republicans do. They love the immigrants more. They love Black people, Latino people, Asian people, etc., more than Republicans do. Well, if you love me, show me. Keep me safe, get my children a good education, and don't keep taking money out of my pocket.
Yeah, so, oh, and speaking of money, do you know the situation? Because we always find ourselves in this situation. You have all these candidates that are running against a Democrat. We're looking at our wallet, trying to count pinch pennies. Meanwhile, the Democrat comes in with wheelbarrows of money, and then we find out that Act Blue is funneling this money to them through international means. And then we have lawsuits on Act Blue, not just in this state, but in multiple states. So, how worried are you about that? I don't know if Spanberger is willing to return that money because it seems to be tainted. But I think it's a very serious and can be a very serious issue.
So we have this is a fun topic for me because we have been raising money at such a fast clip, Nelson, that it's going to surprise a lot of people. Governor Youngkin had to raise $60 million, right,
Mm.
just to beat McAuliffe. And what we have done, people are going to see that the fundraising period ended just yesterday, March 31st. And so the reporting won't actually come out until tax day. Boo hiss, boo hiss. It's speaking of, I'm always reminded that April 15th, almost everybody becomes a Republican because nobody wants to pay their taxes, right? And so again, keeping your money in your wallet. But we've been raising money. We couldn't raise any money from January until almost the end of February. And so but my opponent could, and she's been raising money left and right. So we had to really pick it up March towards the March 1st towards the end, and we have done so spectacularly well that we actually have made history in my campaign because in the first quarter, we have raised more money than any Republican ever has. And that's even Governor McDonald, Governor Allen, and even Governor Youngkin. So
Wow.
it's just, people are understanding we can't go back. And so they're giving money $5, $10, thousands true, but it's going to take everybody.
Hmm. Yeah, it will, and that is and then come tomorrow, you can't raise any money either, can you? Because we're gonna open up the General Assembly again.
Yes, exactly. So, we are doing everything we know because it takes money to run campaigns. We've got to pay people. We've got to get yard signs. We've got to get the bumper stickers. We've got to get the food for the volunteers. And thank God for volunteers because they understand we need everybody. Look, Nelson, there is no other way to say this. We have to win. We
Oh,
have
yeah.
no other choice. If you don't want your taxes to go up, you have to vote for me. If you want to make sure your children are getting a good education, you've got to vote for me. If you want to make sure that our law enforcement has our full support, you've got to vote for me. If you want businesses to continue to come to Virginia to create even more jobs, you've got to vote for me because my opponent doesn't believe in any of that. If you want to be able to listen, just buy the car that you want, you've got to vote for me because the only car that she wants you to drive is an electric car. And I don't know about you, Nelson, but have you seen a lot of charging stations
No,
around?
no,
No.
no.
And how far are these cars going to take you? So what I'm saying is, I don't want to tell you what kind of car to drive. If you want an electric car, drive an electric car. But how about if I want a car that I like, which is maybe a hybrid even, or a car that takes gas? Let me make that decision. They want to tell you what kind of appliance that you can buy. It can only be electric. You see, we gotta remember all these things, and that's why I need your funds and your support to remind people that this is who they really are. It's always about control. And by
Yeah, it is.
I don't
It
know
is.
control.
It is about control, and it's and when the people trying to control you are already confused, it makes it so much more difficult. Yeah, please buy that electric car, but if you buy that Tesla, we're gonna blow it up in front of you. And
Mhm.
when you talk about mixed messages, it's really the left is becoming more and more extreme. But my question to you is, we historically the media has been preferred. They have always had a preference to support and provide cover for the left. If your message is what you're going to do, but also what their record is, like what Spanberger's record is, what the General Assembly, what they're trying to push. How is the best? What is the best way to let people know? Because we're not going to be told by our a lot of our media is not going to let us know this.
Oh, we've been cutting commercials left and right, and you're going to be seeing them to let people know that she is not who the media keeps telling us. The same media, by the way, who told us you don't see the illegals who are coming across the border. Remember that? Don't, no, don't turn your eyes away. That's not really true, except I saw it for myself where I saw the clothes that were piled up. I went to the Texas border and I saw it. And by the way, thank God for the Texas people
Oh,
because they have spent almost $15 billion of their own money to protect the rest of us when the Biden Harris administration refused to do so. And so that's why I need your help. We're cutting the commercials. We're going to be doing the mailings. We're going to hit your phones. We're going to ask you to come and volunteer, come to our headquarters, come to our satellites, put the signs out, or go to my website and you'll see information on what we're doing and why we need to win so that Virginia can keep moving forward. And by the way, what happens in Virginia will help us the next year because next year we're voting for Congress all over again. And if we make sure that we get out and we win in November, oh boy, we're going into next year full steam ahead, full of confidence because we've had this great success and the president is going to need this to continue the good work.
oh, it's going to be one for the ages, and the thing is that Virginia is going to be, I know it's going to be presented as a bellwether for next year. You're right about that. If we lose this state, it's going to be an indictment on every positive change, everything we did to undo the damage that Biden Harris inflicted on this country. So it is crucial. So going into this year, are you very comfortable about your strategy and your approach and about your meeting with the people out there? How are you feeling about this at this early stage?
So I haven't stopped running since 2021 when I first announced my race for lieutenant governor. I have kept going. That like I said, I've been all over. So I wouldn't say I'm comfortable. I would say, I'm confident that we're going to win because we've kept in the fight. We've continued to hear from the people. I've been among the folks to listen to them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're not resting though on any laurels. We are doing the work. We assume nothing and we can't because we've got too much at stake. This is about our children and their future. I mean, why else are we doing all of this? We've got to preserve America for the next generation. There is no way around that. And when we look at what has happened recently in Pennsylvania, there's a very Republican seat. I think Trump won it by almost 25, 30 points. We
Yes.
lost it this month. Last month we lost it because we said, well, he's going to win. The Republican candidate is going to win, and the Democrats swooped right in and did it. We can't afford to say, well, Winston's going to win. We don't have to. No, we assume nothing. The work belongs to those who understand that there is no other option, and the victory is certain if we continue to do the work. So go to winsomesears.com, please, and sign up to get a yard sign, sign up to volunteer, sign up, send $5, $10, whatever you can afford, because it'll be more than I had before you gave it. We're going to need to bring in, of course, the lieutenant governor. We've got to get our attorney general, Jason Niars, back in, and we have to win the House. We've got to get the House of Delegates back. We need one more seat in the House. And we can do this if we had the same people show up who showed up when we won in 21, we would have won the House, we would have won the Senate. Folks, we can't let this rest because the Democrats are very serious about taking the governorship back. We've got to be equally serious because there won't be any common sense if my opponent, Abigail Spanberger, wins.
And that is true because it's not just hyperbole. Just look at what they try to pass in the General Assembly. If you don't believe us, that if Schamberger gets in, all of that will be like it's going to be on greased rails. It's going to be just slid through, and boy, we are going to go down real fast. So I'm thankful that you, Winsome Sears, have decided to become and stay in the fight and carry this warrior spirit into the governor's house. And I wish you Godspeed, and hopefully you print yourself.
It's so, I'm a praying woman. So please continue to pray because, yes, we prayed on our knees and we also pray with our hands and with our feet, knocking on doors and all of that. We got to trust parents that they understand what's best for their children. And if they want to educate their children at home, they should be able to do that. And if they want to build a public school, they should be able to do that. And if they want a hybrid, if they want a parochial school, whatever it is, parents matter still.
Yes. Thank you very much, Winsome, for joining us, and Godspeed.
Thank you all very much. God bless you.